Alright, what's up guys? Welcome to NHL 26, my first, I think, official builds video, or at least this is going to be the updated version, because I haven't made a video in a while, and I'm just getting back into it, and I've sort of created a revelation to the builds, or a revolution, if you will say. So if you're wondering, this build here, I don't know how long this video will be. It'll probably be kind of short, but people have been asking about the builds, and I've been using them in the live streams. I showed it, but this is going to be sort of my explanation and the theories I have of why this build is so good. So this is not the build, but this is what most people think is a good build. You know, high glove, high stick, speed, agility, and all this stuff. They just max it all out. Give you some good perks here, what you think is good. We'll get into that too. But if these builds actually worked, then everyone would get shutouts every game and everyone would be an elite goalie. Because if your build looks like this, you owe me 10 bucks. Because almost every goalie I see that's sort of new and don't experiment with much, this is what their builds look like. They think higher numbers equal good. That's not the case. If you've been watching my channel a lot or been following the games the last 4 years, you know that just because EA says something doesn't make it true. So we're gonna get into the build that I'm using, and it's sort of a build you wouldn't expect to see ever, or to expect to be good, but here's what it looks like. So we're gonna go one by one of my theories. I can't really say I know definitively why this build is good. I'm just the kind of person to try everything. Like, I will minus things, plus things, try every perk on, try every height and weight, and just see what works best. This happened to work best for me, and I can give you the theories why. So 6'2". So I've always been a firm believer that a goalie in their natural state is usually what's best, because EA makes these builds with the defaults, whatever they put them at. Like, they put them at 6'2", 200. I tried it and it works. Every time I max out my height, which is what we used to do in the past, we put it at 6'5", he just wasn't, he still saves the puck, don't get me wrong, he can still be good. I have a different version at 6'5" that I'll show you. Sorry about that. 6'5" that I'll show you and you can use, but this is what I'm using. And I'll get into why I think 6'2" is best later on. So X factors. Once again, like I said, I try everything. For some reason, when I have maxed out X factors, it's just not as good. I think one elite, one all-star, and one specialist, you know, red, blue, gold, I think one of each is the best. I don't know why it works, but it just works best for me. So that's what I'm using. And the perks are probably the most flexible part of the builds. I don't think you need these perks. Like, for instance, I'm thinking about taking post to post off and putting sponge on, actually. So it all comes down to, you know, just switch it up, find what works best for you. Alright, so into the attributes. I think these are where you kind of start leaning toward the non-negotiable side of things. There are some things you can preference on, but most of it is non-negotiable if you want the best build, because attributes are really just so stupid in this game. You notice that most desperation saves in this game come when it's a low shot. Most desperation saves are on low shots, and that's when they are at their best, especially for cross creases and such. My theory is, if these work at all, which I don't think they do, but if these glove low and glove high things work at all, or somewhat, I want the low options to be the highest, and I want the high options to be the lowest. Like, you're wondering why I even minus my glove high then. Like, what's the point? It's my theory, and every time I say theory, that means it's not proven, it's probably wrong, but I'm just going to tell you what I think. My theory is that if glove high and stick high are low, then that makes glove low and stick low high. It's a stupid theory, but this worked really well. When I minus 10 this, I have no problem with, I don't even think these work that well. Glove and stick, like, these can probably all be maxed or all minus and it wouldn't make a difference, but this is what I do just in case it does work. Alright, so let's just move on from that. Speed and agility just work. Max them out. That's what I did. I just maxed them out. I didn't touch these. I don't think there's any reason to. If you can mess around with the durability and endurance. I actually like poke checking in this game, so if poke check works, I actually want a good animation. So I just didn't touch them, didn't need to. Now to the good stuff. So how these builds function Oh, and by the way, I should put into context, this is for a hybrid build. I could not get a stand-up or a butterfly to work. If you want to see me try, I made live streams and tried to play with a butterfly. Total disaster. Trying so many different things off camera, I just can't crack the code. I cracked the code with the hybrid, so that's what I'm using. So if we click the hybrid and read that little description there, hybrid goalies have excellent reflexes and the best shot recovery. They're good at stopping breakaways, but have weak rebound control. Don't expect great high and low save abilities because of their well-rounded approach. So maybe that's why the glove high and stick high doesn't work that much, because they just don't. So it says excellent reflexes, shot recovery, and look at the attributes. They highlight what this build is great at. Breakaways, recovery, rebound control, speed, and agility. Now let me show you something. That's not the only things. They hide most of it from us. So let's just go into this build. If we click it, if we turn, you can see the attributes change. So you can see the attributes change. So look at how the recovery changes from 91 to 88 when you go to the butterfly. But that's not all that changes. You know what else changes? Vision changes. Why don't they highlight vision green? Vision goes from 84 to 89 to 86. So there are lots of other things that the hybrid is good at. So in my eyes, the vision is better on a hybrid as well. In general, like for the DNA of the build, vision is better for the hybrid. So what I do is I literally try to max out what this build strengths are. The strengths are vision and recovery and breakaway, but you know, breakaways, 91 is good enough for me. So I don't know what the switch points are, and I don't know when, like if the difference between 91 and 92 matters that much. I don't know what the intervals are for the build to change their ability to save the puck, but I just maxed it out. I maxed out my recovery and I got my vision up. That's what I did. That's what I'm doing. So that's it, and it works really well. Now let me show you, and you can also look at videos of me playing with this build. The 6.5 version here is also pretty good. You can use it if you really want to, and change these builds how you want. See if it works for you. Try to prove me wrong. But for 6.5 lovers, try this one out. We're gonna go in and practice with it just to see how it works. Let's take a look. Alright, so you're gonna notice, by the way, against the computer, it's not a really accurate representation of how the build works, but I use the computer to just find out if a build has potential, and this build has a lot of potential. Just look at the reflexes. Look at how he changes. Look how he changes his animation mid-turn when the puck is in the air, when it's bouncing around. His recovery is outstanding. He doesn't get sniped much. If anything, he might get beaked around. But let me show you an animation. I'm gonna try to get him to do a desperation animation because that's where this build really shines. By the way, I have look at that save. I was totally beat there. Didn't even move. Still saved it. I want to show you how he reaches for the puck, and this is why I think 6-2 works so well, because see, I was trying to stay out of position, and by the way, I am a firm believer in using the anticipation in game. EA gives us these tools. Let's use them. Okay, that took a while. Okay, finally I got it. These are the kinds of animations I get a lot in game. So basically, as far as 6-2, there's not much difference here. My theory is that the taller the goalies, the more lanky they are with their animations. They're not very accurate with their save animations because they cover a lot of ground, but when it comes to the extremities, they're not as accurate. The shorter goalies, I feel, are a bit tighter. They have tighter animations and they're more accurate with their saves. So that's why you see a lot more glove catches. You don't see it bouncing around all over the place. And if it does, he has excellent recovery to save it anyway. So the reason I think this is the case is because EA built this game so as to... they made an update a while ago that shorter goalies are better. They literally made shorter goalies better. They said it. I think it was what, NHL 24 or something? It was a while ago, and they just kept it in the game. Shorter goalies reach for the puck more often than taller goalies. So that's why you see more desperation saves, better cross crease ability, even though they should theoretically be worse at those, but I think they're better. And you can look at my live streams, and I'm going to be making more videos on in-game. And the videos I'm going to be making aren't going to be one game. I'm probably going to put 2 or 3 games in each video. And we're going to have a good time with that. So that's the build I'm using. Try it out. Or don't. If you don't believe me, if you don't want to, then keep using your build. And that's fine. So that's the build. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope you enjoy the build.